Well, I'm going to talk about three key themes, first in Picasso and then in contemporary art. And the first one is the use of textiles, tapestries, and so forth. The third is the use of ceramics as three-dimensional vessels, and then the third is the use of ceramics as more or less two-dimensional painted surfaces. So I'll talk about some textiles that Picasso made starting in the 1930s and going up to the 1950s, and in particular his use of textiles within textiles, like collage elements. And then when he gets to Valoris after World War II, he takes vases that they're already making and then he turns them into women, for instance. But then he also takes plates and he paints bullfights on them. And the interesting thing I've discovered is that he then uses those as the models for prints. So I think the ceramics are in fact much more important in his work than people have understood. Then turning to contemporary art, I'll be talking about textile art. There is a wonderful Polish artist who was a big hit just this last summer. She was at the Venice Biennale and at Documenta in Kassel, named Małgorzata Mirgatas, who makes paintings by cutting out pieces of fabric and sewing them together. And she uses historical compositions, and they're really gorgeous, but they're also full of meaning because they're about the lives of the Roma, who we used to call the gypsies, and the condition of living in exile. So that will be one reference. And then there's a great Argentinian artist who is also here for this conference named Gabriel Chaye, and I'll talk about his very large ceramic works that are, like, in some ways like enlarged versions of Picasso, except with a surrealist element that's not there in Picasso. And then finally I'll talk about painting on ceramics, a couple of different artists, but above all a Korean artist named Yi Suk-young, who makes things in the tradition of Korean ceramics, but then she breaks them and puts them back together. And I think it's a beautiful metaphor for the fact that we live in a broken world and we have to keep putting it back together.